Alright, tonight we're gonna watch. Welcome back. I figured I'm never gonna play Elden Ring, but I do like the lore. I've been watching like 15 lore videos. So I figured I'd make a video on this one, Queen Marika's full story. I wanted to watch one on Rogdaban, Rogd, Rod, Robdon, the Star Scourge, but I couldn't find one that I could watch.
Here.
So
The
I
time
picked
has
this one.
finally come. Elden Ring,
This one
the
doesn't
next
look that bad.
FromSoft title
Shit
in the
loud
Soul
as
series,
hell,
has been
boy.
released to us at long last. And
Turn it
if
down
you
a
said
little
it
bit.
had some new stuff to bring to the table, you'd be making an enormous
Still kinda going ham.
understatement. It's got an all-new universe with vast, in-depth
There you
lore,
go.
an open-world setup that gives players the ability to go wherever they please, whenever they
There you
want,
go, it's
on
not that bad.
horseback, and most importantly, it gave us Sonic Goats. But as is common with all FromSoft games, and
pot.
especially with Elden Ring, the player wandering around the merciless world of bloodthirsty monsters might begin to think to themselves, why am I doing any of this? What the hell is actually going on here? Only to be met with answers that are either
What is
much
this?
too vague
Ugh.
to be proper answers,
Thought
or
he was
ones
just gonna
that
be
do
talking
nothing but
about
lead
this
to other
person.
questions entirely.
You know what? There's this one dude I watched. I think his name was like Alerm or some shit. He made like 4 of these things. Where it at? This one's 40 minutes long. Oh, right here, bro.
Hey guys, before we
Swat.
get on
I like
with the
this guy's
video,
videos.
please be aware that there is a
Yeah,
lot
there's
of obscure
hella
information
spoilers.
for the topics of this video.
That's fine.
So there's going to be a fair bit of speculation in
We're
the
all
video,
about
which
obscure
will
from
mostly revolve
information.
around those who live in death, the Knight of the Black Knives, Godwyn himself, and the Deathbed Companions. Background footage will
No
show
clue
where
what the
I got
fuck
the
he's talking
information
about.
from, so just keep that in mind.
But the shit
And
looks
that's
mad
it.
interesting,
I hope you
right?
guys enjoy the video. Back to the story.
Creep,
It
creep.
happened an age ago, on the night of the Black Knives, when a fragment of the Rune of Death was stolen. A scheme had come to pass, and the first of the demigods fell. The
This
one
shit's like a
known
movie,
as
dude.
Godwyn the Golden. Godwyn is the son of Queen Marika the Eternal and Godfrey the
Made
first
popcorn.
Elden Lord. When Godwyn yet
Kinda
lived,
late.
he was a famed dragon hunter for the Golden Order. He bested the ancient dragon.
Sorry,
once,
I'm moving a lot.
but instead of slaying him, he
Eh.
befriended the dragon instead. It was through that friendship that the ancient dragon cult was created. And through his friendship with dragons, he created incantations for the dragon cult, which harnessed the very power of lightning and the power of the dragon.
That's crazy because lightning was like in Dark Souls. I don't think this has anything to do with Dark Souls, but in Dark Souls, lightning was like part of the Sunbro attacks.
It is also speculated that he was the favored son of Queen Marika, and as beloved as he
Damn,
was,
he might be
his
Jesus.
death would be the catalyst that would cause the shattering.
Rip Godwyn. That's such a cool ass name, though, right?
On a wintry
Godwyn.
night, a fragment of the Rune of Death was stolen from Malekith, the Black Blade. This fragment was
See how they
used
spelled
in a
wintry?
dark ritual to create knives imbued with the power of death. The instigator for this heresy was an Empyrean known as Rani the Witch. A
Rani, you
well-kept secret
bitch.
from the ears of the Golden Order. But should you confront Rani with this information, she would show no shame in admitting it.
I see. Quite the sleuth, aren't we?
Fuck, she call us? She got 4 arms, bro.
I
Punch
am
her.
the witch, Rani.
Challenge her to
I
a boxing
stole
match.
fragment of the Rune of Death and used it to forge the god-slaying black knives through fearsome rite. I did it all. But sadly for thee, the curse mark thou seekest is not to be found here. I have slain the body I was born into and cast it away. And it is upon that flesh.
Oh, she got
the
2
curse mark
faces,
is
bro.
carved.
Shit's kind of wild.
And why should I reveal that to thee? I performed the act not to bury the past, nor in shame of the deed, but all the same, thy begging compels me not a jot. The curse mark thou seekest is not here. That is all I will say. Now,
Although it is unconfirmed if it was also Rani that ordered the murder of Godwyn the Golden. I do, however, believe that it was also by her scheme that Godwyn the Golden perished. For Rani needed to circumvent the full power of the Rune
Ooh,
of Death
he kind of
by having another
squiggly.
demigod die at the same time as she. For all Rani needed to shed was her Empyrean flesh, to free herself from the control of the Greater Will. As such, the Black Knife assassins entered the capital
Shit's
with their
upgraded, they need to
concealing
watch out.
cloaks and with daggers infused with
That
death.
one's mad strong.
There they slew the Golden God. It is unclear how this power works, but by splitting the hollow brand of death, neither Rani nor Godwyn would be granted
It's a
true
long ass
death.
name. Look at that name. Half-wheel wound of the centipede.
Ron-
That shit was given to her by Orochimaru.
Rani would die in body, and Godwyn would die in soul. This
Right on her
event
neck.
would come to be known as the Night of the Black Knives. Before continuing, I understand there are holes in the plot if the Black Knives were working for Rani, but I will address this in a future video when it comes to Rani. What is of import here is that Rani and Godwyn had died at the same time, but in different ways.
Okay.
But despite Godwyn's soul being killed by the hollow brand of death,
Maybe
his
Godwyn was
body
trying to
did
kill
not die
Ronnie,
with
bro.
it. As
Ronnie,
such, he did
stab.
not get a true death. The golden epitaph was created to commemorate his death. It is a sword infused with the humble prayer of a young boy, likely to be Mikola the Unalloyed, as the symbol of the Halig tree is shown when invoking the prayer. The prayer goes as follows: O brother, Lord brother, please die a true death. But what
That
does
means
it
that
mean
that man can't
to have
die,
a true
bro.
death?
He's unkillable.
In the age of the Erd Tree, death does not exist. For you see, the Elden Ring governs the laws of the lands between, and it can be freely altered depending on what runes are contained.
Isn't that crazy that like humans like want to live forever, and then in these stories, immortal people just want to die? They're like
within
so
the
tired
Elden
of
Ring.
living. They're like, bro, come on,
Queen
please.
Marika the Eternal had removed the rune of death. As such, the law of death did not exist within the lands between. So how does one receive a true death? Well, in order to answer that, we must look to those who live in death.
The fuck is the Elden
Creatures
Ring, bro?
of undeath, whose souls are
Is
rejected
this Lord of
by
the
the Erd
Rings?
Tree.
Is this one of the rings?
As such, they remain in a state of undeath. Their bodies decay and rot, and yet they live in suffering. When you
Ooh,
visit certain
looks like a
catacombs
face.
with those who live in death within, you might find
Right?
some death root. These are
That's definitely a
fragments of the
face.
rune that scattered through the Erd Tree's roots when Godwyn had perished.
He ain't got no mouth
These
though.
death root do not truly impede the souls of the dead, but rather they hearken unto the bodies of the dead, allowing them to rise
That's that
once
skeletal
more.
bandit
The
ass.
souls themselves are
Ashes.
rejected by the Erd Tree, but they believe that it is only a matter of time until they are hewn into the tree, and thus the souls are patient until the moment the death root calls them to live once again.
Yo, his sword got the
This was actually a revelation learned by
that scarlet
Roger,
disease
and
on
he
it.
shared this information with us.
The scarlet rot.
must tell you, do you know of those who live in death? The very notion of life in death defies the Golden Order.
Thought that was a
Ideas
lady.
count.
Might be a
These
dude.
defiled fiends must be expunged. But truth be told, I seek the curse mark to save them. You may find this peculiar, but I discovered something in my examination of the Night of the Black Knives. These souls have committed no offense. They have every right to life, only they happen to touch upon a flaw in the Order.
Those who live in death are souls who have committed no offense against the Golden Order. According to Roger, they have every right to life.
Golden Order kind
But
of
they
a
are denied
dickhead.
such a right because they happen to touch upon a flaw in the Golden Order. What flaw this is, though, is simply unknown. As such, they are denied a true death. A true death means death in body and soul. The body fades into runes, and the soul is hewn into the Erd Tree. Only then can a peaceful, true death be attained. The other way
So you
would be
become
to
a rune
destroy
when you
the
die?
soul and the body with the sacred rites of the Golden Order. no longer allowing the soul to be reincarnated into new life.
Aren't the
Godwyn's
runes
soul
used for
was
something?
never hewn into the earth tree, and so his demigod body can never die. His soul was not destroyed by any litany of proper death though. As such, he can still be revived by a deathbed companion. His body though is but a husk. What truly contains his soul is the hollow brand of the Death Prince, which is split in two. But as the first demigod to die, his body is mutated into the Prince
Ooh.
of Death, and he is the first demigod for those
I was
who
like a
live in
bird.
death. The deathbed companions are tarnished from a place beyond the lands between. These maidens would attain the vigor of champions by staying by their side on their death, preventing their soul from being hewn into the earth tree, and once enough vigor has been attained, they would lay with an exalted noble and give them new life. This is an affront to the Golden Order.
Dude gets like
Fia,
a hug.
the deathbed companion,
That's all you
was
wanted.
one such maiden. She was exiled from her home for possessing the guidance of grace. For those who live in death are directly opposed to the Golden Order.
You get her
As
robes.
such,
That's kind
The
of
one
cool.
who receives their grace is unwelcome in their home. This was not what Fia wanted.
Excuse me.
Fia was proud for her position as a deathbed companion. Despite her hatred for the guidance, however, this would bring her to the foot of the most exalted one,
So
Godwyn,
she be
the
reviving him?
Prince of Death. One who will be able to restore the Order of Death and mend the fragmented Elden Ring with the mending rune of the Death
Fuck is she doing? If her job is to revive this man, why she let him become that blob?
Prince. If you recall earlier, I mentioned the hollow brand of death was split in half.
Yeah, the curse mark.
One half is with Ronnie, who used it on herself in order to break free from her Empyrean flesh. And the other, surprisingly, was with Darian, or better known as D.
His
Let
name's
me
just
take
D.
this chance to talk a little
Hey,
bit
yo,
about
D.
D. He
The
and
will
his
of D,
brothers
bro.
are hunters of the dead within the Golden Order. They are
It's that
inseparable
crazy-ass
twins
chess
who
piece.
found solace within the Order, who did not revile them as accursed beings, for they only have one soul, but share two bodies. When one body is active, the other is asleep, which is why when D dies, his brother wakes and knows what happened. And if you ever visit his brother while D lives, you will find him in a deathless sleep. In any case, going back to the Hallowbrand,
But they only had one
D
body,
was
bro.
in possession of the Hallowbrand that killed Godwyn, probably found by his brother, as he was one who came face to face with the Prince of Death. Due to this, Fia had come to the Round Table Hold in order to kill D and retrieve the Hallowbrand. You might ask, how did Fia know that D had the Hallowbrand? Well, Roger came to side with those who live in death after he found
What if
out
you
the
killed Fia,
revelation
bro?
we spoke of earlier, unbeknownst to D. Roger regularly lays with Fia as well. It was Roger that told Fia of the Hallowbrand.
Okay,
But it was
Fia.
also thanks to Fia that Roger knew of the location of Dee's brother. Dee's brother had come into contact with the Prince of Death, and I believe it was Roger who gave the dagger to Fia, the dagger that bore a curse of death. It was this dagger that we gave Dee that would ultimately kill Darian, allowing Fia to retrieve the hollow brand of death and finally renounce the Round Table to join her prince.
So she can revive him?
Another interesting thing when you think about it, isn't it strange that Dee didn't know about Fia being associated with those who live in death? Well, I think he didn't even know Fia was in the Round Table Hold.
Man just stripped
You
him
see, the
naked,
bed
took
chamber
all his
where
shit.
Fia resides is not truly just a bed chamber when she occupies it, but it is a hidden temple for those who live in death. The Baldachin's blessing that we receive from Fia is a blessing of a temple hidden as a bed chamber, which numbs our sensations to bring us closer to death, increasing our poise and granting damage negation in exchange for 5% of our max HP. A small price to pay for a nice hug. The other half of the Hallowbrand.
A lot
is
of
still
weebs gonna
within the
pay for that
discarded
hug too.
flesh of
5%
Randy
of their
the
health.
Witch, which we find out
5% of your life,
thanks to
dude.
Roger,
For a
and
hug?
we can retrieve it after
Tragic.
helping Ronnie. Unfortunately, Roger dies before we can show him the other half of the Hallowbrand.
Yo, Roger, big as fuck.
The next time we find Fia, we find her with Godwyn's grotesque form at the roots of the Erd tree. The body has been twisted beyond imagination, no longer resembling Godwyn in
Pustool.
the slightest, and we see the curse of death and the death root emanating from the wound of the Hallowbrand.
Gotta eat that shit?
And at the foot of the princess' throne, we find Fia. Before we can even approach her, we have to fight her champions, with two notable appearances. Roger, who allied with Fia at the Round Table Hold,
Damn,
and
he got
Lionel,
fucked up.
who passed away in the capital city at the side of another deathbed companion. Lionel had come
Why
across
he die
Fia
like that?
before and swore to protect her as her father. After we defeat them, we come face to face with Fia, who asks if we are here to stop her, and if we still believe in the vision of the Golden Order. If we say yes, then she tells us that we have to kill her.
Dang,
But
dude.
if we say no, and instead hold her tight, she will find this peculiar. Here we can give her the other side of the Hallowbrand, and she is surprised but thankful. She gives us a tighter hug and gives her most precious gift. A gift a deathbed companion can only give once in their life.
Oh
Finally,
shit.
with the Hallowbrand complete,
She just died then?
Fia can now lay with Godwyn and give him new life. As an exalted demigod though, this new life is not as simple as a rebirth, but rather a new rune for the Elden Ring. A rune that will restore death within the lands between. Fia asks that once she lays with Godwyn, that we are to receive the rune and become Elden Lord. However,
That's like the end of the damn
things are
game,
never
bro.
that simple.
Oh.
After we return to her once she lays with Godwyn,
No!
we find that the rune is not born, and she is unconscious next to the prince. We are able
Damn.
to enter the deathbed dream at this point,
She did?
only to find one last obstacle that bars the restoration of death. The Lich Dragon, Fortisax. Remember, Godwyn had befriended this ancient dragon in his youth, and this dragon had been within Godwyn the entire time, fighting the death curse from within. But the dragon itself was corrupted by the power of death
Oh no.
and turned into a Lich Dragon. The dragon prevents Godwyn's foul rebirth, and so we must lay it low.
Shit is mad
A mere
interesting,
dragon,
dude. What
of
the
course,
fuck?
is no match for the Tarnished. As such, once we return from the dream, we finally find the mending rune of the Death Prince.
Low-key, we just be killing
Contrary
everything
to
though.
appearance, Fia is not dead at this moment, only asleep. Once we leave and return, we will find Dee's brother, too late to prevent the rune's birth, but he gives a powerful speech anyway.
Long look. See the wrath of the Golden Order, the Order's justice writ in blood. This is what's become of your precious witch. Naught but expired meat and bone.
I thought that dude was dead.
This is a proper death, oh Prince. Look at this rotten whore. No more children can be got from this useless flesh.
He was
Behold,
definitely dead, right?
your mother is dead.
You just like stab him?
This is revenge, you witch, and you ghoul. This is the wrath of Dee. Hello. The rotten witch is dead. The Golden Order unsullied. Now I can look my brother Darian in the eye.
Oh, they gave him a name.
Rays of gold, deliver my spirit. Darian, now I have no regrets. Honeyed rays of gold, deliver my spirit.
You can choose to kill him or not.
Definitely
Either
gotta
way,
kill him,
he
right?
leaves after avenging his brother. You must now become Elden Lord and add the mending rune to the Elden Ring to restore death within the lands between. Or you can uphold the Golden Order, grant Miquella's prayer, forsake the rune of the Death Prince, allow Godwyn his true death, and return to our home, bathed in honeyed rays of gold.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's what everybody wants, right? To just be dead. So it's probably the good ending. Maybe we'll watch the other endings. That was kind of pog. But good on this guy. This guy's name, Arlum Grim. Good on him.